Welcome to Coder Tutorial. Today I will show you how to set up a Java program and how to use primitive variables. If you don't already have Java installed on your system, you can refer to my earlier video on setting it all up and getting Textpad and everything that I will be using in this video. So to get started, we're going to open up Textpad full screen. And the first thing we're going to have to do is save our project as a Java file. So for this, I'll call it our program.java. Save. Now we will start coding. So our first line is going to be public class and then whatever the name was that you saved your program as. So mine is our program, bracket, close it. If it isn't that name, then it actually won't even compile. And the next line we're gonna have to put looks like this: public static void main string array args. So just like that. I'm not going to go over exactly what this whole line means. I might do that in a later video when I talk about methods, but for now your Java program just searches for the main method and that's where it'll start. So to start, what we're going to do is just print something out just to make sure your Java is all installed correctly and everything's working. So we're going to do system.out.println, and we'll just say hello world. And for the first time I'll go through the tools menu to show you how to compile and run. For the rest of them I'm just going to use the shortcut keys, which will be Control 1 and Control 2 for me. You can look when you go in here. Compile, Control 1, run, Control 2. So we'll compile, compiled successfully, run Java application, and we get hello world. So that means everything is installed correctly and we're ready to get started. So the first thing we'll do is get rid of this, and the first primitive type I'm going to show you is integers, which is a main one that you'll use in Java for storing numbers. So the first thing I'll put is int. That describes what is going to be in the variable. Then the name of the variable, so this is anything you want. So we'll call it anything you want. And then every line in a program is going to end with a semicolon. So there we go, there's a variable. So now to actually store a number inside this variable, I'm actually just going to move this down. You'll start a new line, type in the name of it, anything you want, and anything you want is going to be like a container to hold a number for us. So we can assign it any number for an integer from up to a little over 2 billion to negative a little under 2 billion. So we're not going to go that extreme, but we'll store a regular number in ours, like 14. So now anything you want contains the number 14. We can start a new variable. So in your Java program you always want to keep your variables at the top and then your code underneath it. So you start another variable up at the top We'll make another int. We'll call it something else like x. Very creative, I know. And we can assign this variable right on the same line. So instead of having to assign it later like we did on the first one, we can just put int x, we can put equals, and we can put 9,000. So now we have two int variables assigned. So now, when we have two variables, we can do any kind of math you want with them. So now x contains the number 9,000, so we can say x minus anything you want. That was a long name, probably not optimal. So now all this is going to do is take 9,000 minus 14. But that's not very helpful for us because we can't even see the output of it, or we're not storing it in anything. So again, we're just going to print something out, and I know I'm not going over printing in this video, but I will have another one up if you want to learn all about printing. So the main printing method for Java that you'll want to use is system.out.println. Just like that. And we can print out this. So all this is going to do is take our 9,000, which is contained in x, take anything you want, which contains 14 right now, and then we're going to print it out to the screen. So we'll do our control 1, compiled successfully, and control 2. So there we go, we have 8,986 it printed out. So now we can close that. So now that we know about integer variables, I'll just quickly go over the other ones and write them out for you. Delete that, and we'll have a short, which can contain smaller numbers than an integer. So we'll call this one less. We'll say 32,000, or 3,200 I mean. Then we can have doubles, which are another useful one. Doubles can store decimal point numbers. So we can say double des equals 32.67 or 3.14159. Then we have a long, which contain huge numbers. So I guess I'll write that one out too. So long, it's another keyword. Huge. Just put in value. You can store really big numbers in a long. And that's all the primitive variables that you have available to you. So let's clear all this. And I'll quickly show you the Boolean variable. So we'll type Boolean is the type, the name, whatever we want. We'll call ours vart. Yeah, that'll work. And these variables are assigned either true or false. They have only two values, so you can either assign true, create another one, Boolean var f, and we'll call it false. So you see they're highlighted in blue. That means that true and false are keywords that are stored inside of that variable. So then I think you can print out a Boolean. Let's see if we can. I don't know why you would ever want to, but let's try and print out var t. Control 1, true, and yeah, it does, I guess. So it prints out true. So you can use Boolean variables for evaluating expressions. Once I show you how to use if and else statements or while loops, you can say things like, if var t is true, then do something. I'll just show you one other thing you can do. So you can put an exclamation mark by one of these variables, and that just means negate it. So if it's true, make it false. If it's false, make it true. So we'll do control 1, control 2, and you'll see now it says false, even though I assigned it true right here. So that just inverts whatever's stored in the var t variable. So we'll close that, and we'll clear all this. And the last one we're going to do is the string and char variables. So we'll start with string. So you type in string, you see it's highlighted in blue, so it's a keyword. Now we have to give our string variable a name, so let's call it var, and we'll finish that, and we'll put something in our var variable. And to define a string, use double quotes like that. Close our line. So we got the double quotes. We can put anything in here. You can put one word, you can put one letter, you can put whole sentences, say video about primitive types. So you can store anything inside a string variable. So then they're handy for printing. So we can define another string variable. We'll call it var2, another very creative name, and we'll assign it directly like we did with integers. And we can assign it something else like goodbye or whatever you want. And then we can do system.out.println, and instead of having to type it here, now we have our variables, so we can type in var. We can have another one, system.out.println var2. So all that is going to do is take whatever's in this variable, print it out, whatever's in this variable, print it out here. You can also, we won't do that, we'll do something like this first. So let's say we want both of these to be together in one variable now. So let's define another string variable. Let's call it var3, another creative name, and we'll say it's equal to var plus. So the plus operator is how you concatenate two strings together, and we'll put var2. So what var3 is going to contain is all of this, and then this inside there. But that's not really useful because, as you can see, there's no space there, none there, so it's just going to push them together. We'd want a space after that. So what you can do is something like this. Put a string in the middle of your two variables. So all I did was put a space. We could also put something in the middle like special characters. So \n will make it print a new line in between these. So it'll print out this, and then go to the next line, and then print out this. We could do \t, which is tab, so it'll do var, put a tab, and then whatever's in var2. But we'll just put a space for now. And maybe we'll print that one out too, just to show everything. So system.out.println, and we'll put var3. So now we can see what they all look like. So we'll go control 1, successful, control 2. Okay, so our first print printed out this, second one printed out this, and our third one printed out everything in the first one, and then a space, and then whatever is in our second one. Close down that. So that's the basics of string variables. So we'll clear all this, and I'll show you how to do a char variable. So we can assign it just like this. char var. Then we can give our container, which is var, a value. So something like f. So now var contains f. We can also have something like char var c, and we can assign it directly just like instance strings or booleans, and we can assign it 8. So that's when you want a single character and not a whole string of characters. It's a lot more primitive than a string. Strings have a lot more functions associated with them, which I'll probably show in another video or something like that. But yeah, that's all the main primitive types in Java. So we'll just clear that. So now you should know the basics of primitive variables. This will be the first in a series of videos about primitive variables. Stay tuned for my next video where we're going to go over arrays, multi-dimensional arrays, what are final variables, and also static variables. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and good luck in your programming.